Tracy, it's great to see you again here at San Diego Comic-Con.
Fantastic to see you too, yes.
So anyways, you're here again with a purpose.
Oh yes, always have a purpose.
So tell us about what's your upcoming movie, Rogue Warrior?
Rogue Warrior Robot Fighter, yes. Science fiction, it's due out soon. It'll have premiering in August and September, and then it'll go wide after that.
So tell us about the movie. What is Rogue Warrior is about? All I know is it's a sci-fi movie.
It's a science fiction film. It's very character-driven science fiction, and it's about artificial intelligence taking over the worlds, not just this world, but many other worlds too. That's why we had to travel so much to film it. And my character is a rogue warrior, and it's very action hero based, and she also has a character journey and self-realizations, and it's amazing. There's so much in the way of, there's not a lot of green screen or special effects in this. So much of it is real. We tried to make everything practical, which is very, very difficult when you're working with robots and all of these other things. But I think we did a really good job. I think it's had a huge following, and I think it's going to be a big movie.
So when you say it's not green screen and actual robots, like how did the director handle this?
Well, you have to use green screen, but the robots were practical. So they weren't CGI robots. They were actually built in order to do this. And then, of course, certain things will have to be done with special effects and in CGI, but the actual robots and everything are physical. They were actually built just for the film.
Okay, well, tell us what kind of background. Is this like in a far-off universe, long time ago? I mean, off in distant planet, Mars?
It's in the distant future. And there's about 8 different worlds that we explore going through this. And that's why we had to go to Yuma, and that's why we had to go, Saltdale, Mojave, Bribey Island, Australia. We did Melbourne also, and Brisbane. And so it's just finding these areas that felt like different worlds, because we wanted the viewer to actually feel like they were there. And so that was part of the exciting part about it, is when you watch certain films and there's so much CGI and stuff, you feel like you can't get drawn into a character-driven film.
Yeah.
So I think it's different. It's very different than anything else. I mean, I would combine it with Star Wars or Road Warrior or any of those other films, but people ask me, like with my character, to compare it to something, and I can't. I think it's something people will compare things to in the future.
So what was the coolest place that they sent you?
I would say Yuma, Arizona, just because I'm such a Star Wars fan, and so to be up hundreds of feet on these sand dunes and to know what was shot there before and stuff like that is very exciting. It's very inspiring. It kind of feeds your soul. And when you have to do that kind of physical activity, it's nice to be fed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was exhausted. We had principal photography for 3 months, but then we probably shot another 6 months of extended scenes and things like that, because this is going to be his biggest film. I mean, we put so much work into it. Yeah.
Now, what did you do for preparation for the film? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of action.
There's a lot of action. Luckily, I work out hard, I train hard, but on top of that, I had to put on maybe 15 pounds of extra bulk and get stronger and build my endurance, because, I mean, you're going up hundreds of feet and doing action scenes with explosions. I mean, that requires quite a bit. And besides that, getting into the character, because she has this journey, and it's a really deep journey, and she has like 4 journeys, because she starts out one way and she has no memories, and then she has a self-realization of who she is, and then her boyfriend dies, and then she finds that she has another consciousness inside of her, and I mean, it's just this incredibly emotional journey. And so, yeah. Did I answer the question?
Physical and emotional journeys, right?
Yes. But it was exhausting. So to prep for it, I mean, I probably spent 4 months, figuring out the character, and I had to color code what she knew and where she was at and stuff so that I could pop into that. And then besides that, just training with fight trainers and, prepping in every way possible.
Hitting the gym 6 hours a day.
Well, the other thing is that I had to do, this is an interesting thing, is the little round robot that's in the poster. He had to be real to me, because a lot of the end of the movie, it's just me and him. And so if the viewer is going to believe it, he had to be real to me. So I actually physically put him in my office for a few months when I was prepping for the role, and developed a personality for him and how he would talk and everything, which was great. So he was real to me. But when I got on the set, if people started reading his lines, I'm like, no, that's not Hoagland. So then I had to learn Hoagland's lines so that it was still real to me, so that I could perform with him. It's very tricky.
So what did you call the little robot?
Hoagland.
Hoagland?
Hoagland.
Did you get to keep him?
Actually, he's in my office still, yeah.
Are you going to keep it?
I would like to. If I can. As long as nobody pries him out of my hands, I will keep him.
Talk about working with your castmates. I think they're here somewhere, right?
Yes, some of them are here, right here. It was amazing because the actors that we worked with are such great names and so well trained, and we all kind of just lived the experience. So if everybody around you is believing that this is all real, then it makes it so much easier. I mean, working with William Kircher and working with Daz Crawford and Marilyn Gigliotti, and I mean, it was an amazing experience. Probably my favorite acting experience yet. And I have 4 films coming out this year, and this is really challenging and really great.
Well, since you brought up the other films, talk about some of your other films. I mean, one of them is the Jenna film, or that already came out?
Now, Who's Jenna just premiered, and then it has another premiere on the East Coast, and then it comes over here, I believe, in September, and then it'll get distributed wide. And that's a big, comedy feature. I play the lead actress of Jenna Casey, and great cast in that too. Very Sopranos, Goodfellas cast. Bill Sorvino, Gary Pastor, Andy, played by Joe D'Onofrio. I mean, fantastic cast, and it's a hilarious comedy. It's a raunchy guy comedy, but it's fantastic. Yeah.
And what about the other 2 movies that's coming out?
I shot a film that's out of Australia called Diary of a Fat Man, and that's another comedy. And that's going to come out here in September also. And then At the Edge of Time, which was also directed by Neil Johnson, which is a time travel movie, that's in post right now, and that'll be like another 6 months. And I play kind of a general of her own army, almost like a terrorist in that, but for the good. She's trying to put an end to Cyrano, who has a messiah complex, who's rewriting history in order to help him with his messiah complex. So I come after him.
Golly, it's like 2 types of films, either comedy or sci-fi for you.
Right now, yeah, it is. But what's kind of cool about Rogue Warrior is it's so much comedy inside of it. There's so much heavy drama in it with the, everything she's going through. And then it's science fiction, which is my personal favorite.
And you did mention that you love sci-fi. You said you love Star Wars. I remember that.
I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. I love Logan's Run. I love Lost in Space. I mean, I'm definitely a geek in that way, yes.
And what was it like to be here in this geek fandom here?
It's one of my favorite places to go. I mean, I absolutely love it because you feel like, growing up, if you're a sci-fi geek, everybody's kind of, But being here, you kind of like realize there's this huge part of the world that is. And especially now that I'm delving into that world as far as acting, it inspires me.
Terrific. Like one last question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your all-time favorite? You said a bunch of them, but I want to know what is the best sci-fi movie that you like? Not choosing yours, but...
That's a trick question. I would have to go back to the old Logan's Run, the original Logan's Run. Yeah, I really, really loved it. I love the characters in it. I love the idea of only being able to live to a certain area and not being able to leave a complex world that's very, very contained. And yeah, when I was young and I saw that, it had a huge effect on me. That and Planet of the Apes. I love Planet of the Apes.
The new one, the old one, the middle one, the Tim Burton one. I mean, there's so many Planet of the Apes.
I watched it growing up, but I would have to say that the newest ones are my least favorite because of the heavy CGI. So when there's all the emotion, I'm not being drawn into it because it's not real to me. That's one of the things like with this film. It's like when I watch stuff like that, I want it to be real so that I can believe it, so that I can go on the journey with them. I loved it visually, but I didn't get drawn into the story, and I hate that.
True. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Maybe I'll have to talk to you again for 3 more films.
I would love that. Okay, great seeing you.
Hey, great seeing you. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.